Hey guys, Nate from Play Your Court. Today we're going to be talking about how to unlock massive forehand power. Alright guys, today we're talking about the keys to unlocking massive forehand power, and this video is for Play Your Court members 50 to 70 or USTA 3.0 to 4.0. Here are the keys that we're going to be focusing on today. Number one, leverage, and number two, racket position to obtain this leverage. So when we're talking about what leverage to the tennis ball is simply the force over the ball created with leverage. A lot of times what we're seeing is players trying to create this with aggressive swing pass, trying to get acceleration with the incorrect mechanics. All right, so let's first talk about what creates this leverage. And the number one thing that creates leverage over the ball is something called the lag. All right, and we're going to see this with every accomplished tennis player with a massive forehand. And the lag is simply the moment that we get the racket back behind the wrist in this position. All right, so a lot of you out there, you've heard flashlight to the ball, and it's not that it's wrong, it's just a little antiquated. So once upon a time with the racket starting low, when we look back at kind of the classic era of tennis, when the power of the game wasn't necessarily so important, a lot of times we had a straight take back where the racket and the butt cap went straight down. And this is where we get the flashlight to the ball. And this isn't incorrect, it just doesn't create that much leverage to the ball. So what we're now seeing today are players with the racket tip up, and this is what's going to create the leverage to the ball. All right, it doesn't really matter how we see the racket moving with the racket tip up. You've got Team and some of these guys that are starting with the tip forward. You're seeing Delpo with a much bigger circle with the tip way up, or you're getting kind of what we see, what we refer to as the modern forehand now with Roger and some of these guys with the head just straight up and down from the wrist. The reason this portion is so important, as I'm moving with the racket head up, this is going to create more leverage as the racket starts to drop to quickly get into this lag. All right, so if you're really thinking about the way this works, it's this motion of going racket head up. So I'm creating greater leverage because now the racket head has to drop. And then the force is that racket coming around to the ball. So if I take that top part away, what ends up happening is I take away all the leverage and I'm just focusing on racket head speed from low to high. And then it becomes more of like swinging hard with an arm, and it's just really hard to create this power. If you're a little bit confused on the way this works, I want you to imagine I'm throwing an axe. So if I can only use one hand, right? We know that all the weight on an axe is at the very top. So when I would take that axe back, right, if I took it straight down, I'd really have to use my arm, try to fire the hips to get it moving up. But if I started with the head of the axe up and then I allowed it to drop, I would start getting gravity and this pendulum to help me get the racket around and then moving forward. And that's the exact same concept that we're talking about here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to demo. We're going to get Scott out here and we're going to demo the wrong way, where we're starting with this racket. And it's not, let me rephrase that, it's not wrong. It's just a little bit more recreational, maybe a little bit more intermediate. But in order to get the massive power, we've got to start getting the racket head leading up. So I'm going to show you the intermediate way of hitting the forehand, and then we'll jump into hitting with the racket head up, creating this leverage that we're talking about. Okay guys, so here we're going to see my racket going straight down without creating any kind of leverage or force up above the ball. Okay guys, so you can see there where I'm taking the racket down low. I'm getting plenty of spin because I'm getting a nice shape to the ball low to high, but I'm really not getting any kind of weight behind my ball. All right, so in the next one, you're gonna see the tip of the racket starting up, and here you're gonna see the leverage to the ball creating a lot more force, and you're definitely gonna see this lag as the racket gets behind my wrist, slightly below it, and really allowing this kind of whiplash effect to the ball. as it jumps to impact, giving me a lot more power. Okay guys, let's wrap this up. Let's talk about the major points to focus on today. Number one being leverage. How are we creating leverage to the ball? And this is going to start with the racket up above, with the tip of the racket pointing up. Style, if your preference is to have it pointed forward, that's fine, but we want the racket starting up and on the side of the body. The most important point is number two, getting the racket into the slot where it can then create a lag. All right, and this lag is as my hip is firing, I'm creating this forward momentum, the racket is catching up to the strike zone where the contact will be out in front. But this lag, all right, as this racket comes around, it's very circular in nature, and I want to make sure my arm is away from my body to allow maximum output, maximum power. All right, so you guys, if you're out there with the racket starting low, we got to get leverage by getting this racket up above. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. Don't go anywhere. I see you getting ready to leave the video. All right, just hear me out. I hope you enjoyed the instruction today. We know here all we want to do is see you improve, right? So we can really help you if you just take a second, hit the button below, answer some questions so we can learn a little bit about you, right? And then check out the membership. Some great tools in the membership where we can pair you with people to play, practice, and then we're gonna send you these videos from Scott and I that are really gonna help you practice the things you need to be focused on at your level, and then you can go out and you can practice it. All right, we'll see you soon.